It's something where I think that because that's one thing that we said it very briefly at the end of the last one, but that kind of was the thesis coming into this episode. But the idea that of course art is a conversation because art is always two things. Art is always a reflection, and art is also a conversation because art doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It's not possible to create art out of absolutely nothing. It always either reflects something or it always reflects something, but it also is a conversation because it exists within a context in which other art came before it, other art will come after it. And I find that
Right.
when you have works like this where it's also cross medium, right? Because it is something where Tak is an album is just the sonic space, and yes, Terror in Resonance, Zankyou no Terror, the soundtrack is very much worthy of standing on its own, similar to other Kano works. Like Bebop has 5, 6 albums worth of music that stands on its own. But there is something where like the music of Terror is not just it just happens to be that like I like Sigur Rós, so that's the music of Terror. No. Like the actual the Iceland is in Terror in Resonance. It is key. It's instrumental to the story and to the setting of everything. Right? They like Vaughn is not just a word they use to name one of the songs. No. It's in the show. So there's something where it's really cool because you do get this sort of cross media connection where they took influences of Tak, but it didn't just influence the music. It actually influenced everything, right? And so you end up literally in a new place when you do this. And that's something that I think is of course the power of music. Like you can listen to music and imagine a movie. You can listen to music, imagine a book. A lot of writers listen to music when they write. And I think that's one of the really powerful things about music is that it can really take you somewhere else and create a space and deepen that space. And to have done Terror, to end up in such a different place. Because of course, when you listen to Tak, you don't think about terrorism. That's never been a thought. I listened to the album, for a couple of years before Terror came out. I had never thought of, oh man, like I would really want to blow up a building, but somehow. Thanks to, of course, some key differences from Yoko Kanno, thanks to a bunch of different aspects, but he actually, Watanabe did take us to that place, and somehow it feels so fitting. It feels so fitting that we have this legendary Icelandic band that inspired it, that sound that you could only get from there, and somehow it all works really well. But that's a testament to the conversation that is art, right? And not to mention that Terror is very Japanese in a way where a lot of the topics and things that are talked about in Terror are things that are hot topics in Japan at the time. People, a lot of media in Japan tends to criticize the way that people use children and younger people and all of this, a lot of stuff like this that is very interesting, but it's something where the pressure we give to the youth and stuff is a very huge topic in Japan. And I find it's interesting because Terror is about that in many ways, but it also in all three characters it really tackles a lot of that. But it's interesting because it does this, but it also it does this with a huge inspiration of ideas of hope and things that they get from Sigur Rós, from from something that's from Iceland, and it shows sort of a crossing borders and connecting thematically things from different places and being inspired by something outside of your home, but that inspires you to tell a story from your home, and that's something that again you only get from these sort of cross media influences, right? Art doesn't just influence its own path, right? It's music doesn't just influence music, films don't just influence films, right? And that's probably one of the coolest things about this whole conversation and about these two works being compared.